crawfish season, and that means it's either crawfish étouffée or everyone's favorite, crawfish bisque. Crawfish bisque is a very long process. It's an easy process, but it's a long process because one, you've got to have a crawfish boil, and you've got to get all the meat. If you choose to peel 60 pounds of crawfish to get 6 pounds of crawfish tail meat, you're more than welcome to do it. I'd advise getting it in the bags already done. It's all out of Louisiana, simple, easy. But if you want to make a crawfish stock, and there she goes, there goes Mignon. You've got to have all the components. So here, come on over here real quick and I'll show you. This is from a crawfish boil from yesterday where my buddy gave me some crawfish. So if you choose to make a crawfish stock, totally fine. You have to make a stock for the crawfish bisque. Whether you use gumbo crabs to do it or you use the crawfish, I use the crawfish. But remember, when you're using the crawfish for crawfish stock, there's a lot of seasoning and junk that's still in the crawfish. When you do the stock and you're finished with it, and it's just water, you're not adding anything else. You could add some seafood broth if you want, but you're going to be screening out all the residuals. You find mesh, pour it out, get it, throw it off. You just want the liquid. So, assuming there's no crawfish tail meat, you're using the shells, got the shells, and this piece. So, when you're ready, what you're doing is basically, you want the head carapace. You want to break that off. Yep. Get all that junk out, and you're going to do this a few times. This is not a slow, this is a slow process, not a fast process. So basically, crawfish bisque with stuffed heads is this. So there you go, little crawfish. You want this, and you're going to wash these a lot. I'm going to show you the process. So the heads are the main thing. This is what you want, because you're going to stuff all the crawfish tail meat and other stuff in this, and it goes into the roux. Now my GiGi, this is really my first exposure to crawfish bisque was from my GiGi. So I call this GiGi's Crawfish Bisque, even though it's Christian making it. My GiGi was an old Italian lady, came here, I think, I don't know when she come here, man. It was the last part of the century, so like maybe 1899 or 1900 on the dot, and she lived to like 80 years, so probably 1900. But that's where I learned most of my cooking from. And but I do a brown sauce, so let's just say GiGi did a red sauce. You know, she's a bit more Italian, yeah, okay. So I'm going to show you how this stock looks when it's done. So come on over. What you get is this. You get a dark, rich crawfish stock. Now, I have a very fine mesh. I have multiple mesh, what do you call those things? Screens to pull out everything. So this is a clean stock. This is a clean crawfish stock. There's no residuals of anything. So any material gets completely screened out. It's gone. It's just a stock. And it smells just like crawfish. So this will go into the bisque, into the roux. Yep. And what you get after the fact is a bunch of crud material. You get all the shells. What you end up with, you break it all apart and come here. This is what you get. Ultimately, you get the backbones, and you see they still have a lot of funk material. And I've cleaned these once, so you got to go through them again. But this is what you want for the bisque. We've got crawfish stock. We've got 4 pounds of crawfish tail meat. That's going to go into the heads. You've got the backbone, or the back carapace, you know what you want to call it. All right, got that. All good. And you got a roux. Now, I kind of fast forward this a little bit to help out because making a roux takes time. You know, I'm not going to spend an hour making a roux just for the video, but I got it to the point it's almost where I want it to be. So this is a good color roux. Roux smells nice. But the big thing, the big important thing is making sure these heads are clean. So come on over. So there's like a membrane that you've got to get off. Yeah, little membrane. So you want to wash these out really well. Even when you think they're clean, you still got to go back in and pull it all off. It's not hard. It's just time consuming on a couple of things. Yeah. But you got to get it out. You got to get all that membrane out. seeing there's some residual stuff back in there you want to scrape out. Just get your nail and just scrape it out. And this is all going to be stuffed with the crawfish and material. So traditionally, you're doing your own crawfish stuff from scratch. This is something you really can't bypass anything on. You've got to go through the process. So the roux is pretty much where we want it to be. You can get a little bit darker, but the stock is dark. So what we're going to do is add everything in. And it needs some garlic, but I always add the garlic a little bit later. I don't want it to burn. It shouldn't burn. It should not. But temp's on medium high-ish. You want to sear these down for about 10 minutes. Calls for a couple of tablespoons. This is a little bit more than a couple of tablespoons, but that's just, again, to me. There you go. And you want to get these wilted down nicely. Pulls out a lot of the flavor, so we're going to let that do its thing. So I got the roux pretty much where I want it to be. It's dark enough. The veggies have, they kind of wilted down just enough that I'm happy with it. Generally 5 to 10 minutes on medium high, somewhere in there. Now we're going to add in the stock. So this is crawfish stock, and it's a concentrated crawfish stock. So it calls for 6 quarts. And this should take 45 minutes. Once you bring it to a boil and then you reduce the temp, it should take 45 minutes is what it generally says. As a backup, I got some stock, seafood stock. Now I need to add 1 quart of water, or I could add another thing of seafood stock, it's totally fine. But it's already a very rich stock, concentrated stock. So a lot of the recipes call for, at this point, adding in a 1/4 cup of red sauce. I've got foamy red sauce, it's great. Salt, pepper, you're gonna need salt, guys. If you wanna add Rotel, you can add Rotel, it's totally cool. So there's this smoked black pepper. I get it at HEB, it's actually pretty good. It smells really nice. And you're gonna wanna add probably some cayenne into this. Tell you what, I'll add some Tabasco. So I use both the red and the green. I had some crawfish already open, so I think these are going to shrink away to nothing. They always do. So, but I'm going to do a pound. However, I'm not a proponent of doing this until it's actually finished. But these will give some flavor while this is cooking for an hour. It says 45 minutes, but we'll say an hour. And then when it's done, I'll add some more crawfish. And I'm gonna leave this uncovered. And just for fun, we're gonna add a few of the crawfish from the crawfish boil the other night. All right, so the roux is done. So now we gotta do the stuffing. The stuffing is the big thing. So same thing we put into here, same thing we put into there, we put into the crawfish stuffing. So what do we have? We got 4 pounds of crawfish tails, onions, celery, bell peppers, minced garlic, Italian parsley chopped. Fine. The mixer is going to do it all. Be happy. So let's just see. Let's just dump some stuff in. This might be 3 steps. 1 cup of parsley. Calls for 2 tablespoons of garlic, so 4. Let's do a quick little blend. Just quick. Good. So add some crawfish meat in there now. And when you do the stuffing, when this is finished, you're going to do 3 eggs per 60. So I'm doing 6 eggs with breadcrumbs. Italian breadcrumbs are fine, or plain breadcrumbs. Totally fine. That's a good consistency. Let's check it out and see. You don't want big chunks in there. Good. It's a good. We're going to repeat the process now. Rest of the crawfish. Totally good. Put the rest of my parsley in. What do you say, yeah? What do we have? We've got 4 pounds of crawfish tails minced up with garlic, celery, bell peppers, and white onions. Haven't added any seasoning yet. Oh, there's also some Italian parsley in there, so that's good. So we're going to season. Let's see how this goes. We're going to try to go with it. My smoked black pepper, which I like, and 6 eggs whipped. We're going to add some breadcrumbs too. It's almost like you're making a meatball, right? So we're going to blend it first. This is where we want it to be. Now we're going to add some breadcrumbs. And I'm doing the Italian breadcrumbs from Progresso. Get any kind you want. Now we're going to blend it up. I use my hand, so water on. And if you think it's too thin, you can add some more breadcrumbs. It's totally fine. No need to add some more breadcrumbs, some more Italian breadcrumbs. So, preheat the oven, 350 degrees. Because these are going to go stuffed in the oven for about 25 minutes just to brown up and firm. I'm going to walk you through how to stuff crawfish shells. Yeah? If you do it right, just like you do meatballs, when you brown them, they're not going to break apart. You want to make sure they're clean, like you don't wrap the material around the shell on the bottom. You know, you just wipe it off and put it back and just kind of firm it up. The stuffed heads are done and are ready to go into the oven. 25 minutes. 25 minutes. Oh, just messed them all up. That's perfect. When I put the whole crawfish in, they had, you know, the oils that they're cooked in. So I'm just skimming off all the excess oil. Let's see how the heads are. Let's turn that off. Sometimes they like to stick to the bottom. It burns my hands. This will need 45 minutes to an hour to cook. And you want to get them a little bit firm, crispy, because you don't want them breaking apart and leaching out. But you want them to get nice and soaked. This calls for 120 head recipe. I've got 150 or 160 in here. All right, everything's loaded up. It's on medium low. It needs about 45 minutes to an hour. Covered. Put a little bit lower if you like. We're done. That's it, guys. As soon as it's ready, we can dump in 2 more pounds of crawfish tails and add some parsley and some green onions. That's it. There's nothing else to do. Now that it's done, needed to add some parsley. You can add a little more if you want. It's totally good. Beep. It's fine. Nice. And since it's finished, we can add some more crawfish tails. So, look at that. There you go. Nice. Stuffed heads are good. Let's add almost a pound of crawfish tails. Just a little bit more, but it's finished. Everybody's gonna be eating like in 5 minutes, so it's done. I have rice. Rice is cooking right there. It's doing its thing. We're not gonna plate it with rice. We're just gonna show it with just the bisque by itself, but I'm gonna put it back in. So for dinner for tonight. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's do this. Give me a crawfish. There you go. You can actually eat the crawfish that's in there, which is totally cool. There you go. So you want to look at it, come get an idea of what it should look like. Oh, it's hot. There you go. And you want to add some little garnish. Toss some garnish on there, like green onions, and there you go. This is crawfish bisque, guys. I'm not gonna eat any of the stuff, but there you go. The heads are stuffed. They didn't break apart. Always a positive. But this is GiGi's crawfish bisque. That's it. Whether you're doing a red sauce or a brown sauce, at least the process for doing the stock is the same, and the process for stuffing the heads is exactly the same. No different, other than a red or a brown sauce, a roux versus an Italian red sauce style red sauce. That's it, guys. So when you think of crawfish bisque, it's a long process, but an easy process. And my people are starting to come. They know I'm making crawfish bisque, so they're en route. So I wish you all a good day and enjoy. Anybody has any thoughts or ideas about the loveliness of this, you're welcome to convey that to me. Totally cool. Happy cooking.